And you're back with more Rampage Pro Wrestling. I was previously joined by Doug Sommers, and
I have a feeling we're going to be joined by Doug. I have a feeling we're going to be joined by Doug Sommers again. A little break for me, nothing wrong with that. Pleasure for you, I'm sure, to have the pretty boy out here. But now the former television champion Jeremy Vane is out, and with him is pretty boy Doug Sommers.
You ever heard of a one-sided commentator?
200 pounds.
Got very anti-Frankie Valentine. His own child.
He is the untouchable Jeremy Vane.
If your father is against you, then who's for you?
Well, I've heard of Tough Love, but the Doug Sommers version is a bit ridiculous. Those of you that were at the third anniversary show have watched on Rampage Television saw what happened to Frankie Valentine after his victory with Jeremy Vane. Doug Sommers gets him with right in the head and busts him wide open in the middle of the ring.
And the alliance has been formed here between Pretty Boy Doug Sommers and the untouchable Jeremy Vane, who for the first time has come into the ring in a long time without a belt.
Very much so,
he's
but he's got
used to wearing gold.
But what a competitor is coming out to the ring now, and a challenge. There's no title on the line, but there's an awful lot more on the line right here. Kyle Matthews, 2 years in a row, the best technical wrestler in the state of Georgia. Been embroiled in a long-running feud with Jimmy Rave and the Rave Approved team. Tonight, a little break from that, thank goodness, but no less an opponent in Jeremy Vane.
Kyle Matthews, one of the most popular wrestlers here ever in Rampage Pro Wrestling. Fantastic amateur background, trained by the late, great Nightmare Ted Allen. This guy's been voted most technical wrestler, best technical wrestler in Georgia twice. This guy's been honored by Cauliflower Allie as a future legend nominee. Kudos to this guy all the way around, and should be a great matchup.
Very much so. Spent some time recently in Japan. We've talked about that in the past. His credentials just continue to increase. But we're pleased that he calls Rampage Pro Wrestling his home.
Absolutely, and he is at home here. And it is once again Jeremy Vane very quickly using his psychological warfare as only he can do. Reminds me a lot of Larry Zbyszko in the way he used to wrestle.
Very much so. Zbyszko, known for the psychological advantage, frequently used distance. He would bail out of the ring. People would call it stalling. I never really thought of it that way as I used to watch the Larry Zbyszkos of the world. They were just smarter than some of the other wrestlers. They would take their time, look for their opportunity, and then attack.
And they were successful, so you can't take anything away from it. And it's Jeremy Vane also very successful, pulling the man in the corner and a clean break, much because Dustin Robinson forced a clean break.
And of course, Larry Zbyszko, a former NWA Western Heritage champion.
Absolutely.
Whatever happened to the Western Heritage Championship?
It's probably still in his mantle, isn't it?
I think it was sold by Bill Watts to Crockett, and I don't know what happened after that.
Was that an eBay sale? Or?
Probably so.
And shove off that time by Kyle Matthews, and I think that he has respect. If not, he's going to garner it here, slap for slap, and it's Jeremy Vane deciding discretion is the better part of valor. He's out to the floor, and with his mentor, Pretty Boy Doug Sommers.
I don't know, the blow was hard enough to knock Vane off his feet. I think it just surprised him.
I think so too, and certainly if you've ever been slapped in the face, you know how that feels, and it's not a good thing.
Not at all. Vane now taking his time. Doug Sommers, the experienced veteran that he is. And no slouch, Jeremy Vane, double digits in this business so far, titles all over the Southeast. This is no rank amateur, this is an experienced veteran in there, but to have Pretty Boy Doug Sommers and all of his years of experience and multiple title reigns all over the world there to consult you has to be a tremendous advantage for anyone.
Leg trip takedown, float over back into that hammerlock, and he has them in that India Deathlock type move and falling back with all that weight. Applying the pressure to the arm, and certainly that's going to break that arm if he pulls it back far enough. The arm will only go so far.
Very much so. Kyle Matthews, busy weekend for him as he headed into this particular match. Friday, he was in Piedmont, Alabama for NWA Pro South, then all the way down to Ozark, Alabama, the opposite end of the state for a big card there, and at the Civic Center, and then back up here to Rampage Pro Wrestling. So busy weekend for Kyle Matthews and a tough match every place he went.
And barring any injuries, I see this guy as being a major superstar in professional wrestling for years and years to come.
Well, and that is the big difference that we talk about all the time with professional wrestling and other traditional sports. You know, baseball, they play a lot of games in a row, but you don't see people being thrown over the bullpen out into the field. You don't see people getting, well, there's an occasional fight in baseball, but it's really not the norm. And yet in professional wrestling, night after night, these men come in the ring, put their bodies on the line, and somehow have to get up the next day and go on and do yet another fight in another town against another opponent, a different opponent in most cases, every single night.
Absolutely, not to mention the travel, the effect that travel has on the body. Phenomenal athletes they are, and these two are both consummate athletes. Full arm twist by Jeremy Vane, and again, working on an arm to a hammerlock, and trying to figure an escape here. He's a master at escape, several moves.
Manages to reverse that. About to chop Jeremy Vane, and he decided to sit that one out.
You know, half of wrestling is learning moves, the other half is learning the counters.
Very much so. The key in professional wrestling is to beat your opponent, but the other key is to avoid that.
Absolutely, and it's a human game of chess. And right now these guys are trying to figure each other out, locking up again. And I would not expect a clean break from Jeremy Vane. Referee's right on top of it, pulling the man to the corner. And as we expected, a boost to midsection of Kyle Matthews.
What a main event Doc Gayton has created for us here on Rampage Pro Wrestling. First program as we enter into our 4th year of Rampage Pro Wrestling after a tremendously successful 3rd anniversary show. A lot happened there. And again, I've been told that Doc Gayton, before the end of our program, plans to make an announcement, but he hasn't so far.
And time is of the essence here in this TV main event. Invite the fans to join us there as he has that partial abdominal stretch applied. But join us live on Sunday afternoon. That's October 2nd as we go into October. Of course, we know that Oktoberfest is at the end of October. We can't wait for that.
Busy month of October, of course. Our show's on October 2nd, then again on the 16th, and of course, Oktoberfest, as you said, on the 30th. And then just a few days before that, our good friends at Impact Wrestling are at the Macon Coliseum.
Total nonstop action.
Big television taping there, and cooperation going on between us here at Rampage Pro Wrestling and Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. Pleasure to work with them and a pleasure to be able to help out.
I've been seeing a lot of promos here on the program of the guys from TNA. The fans are saying, what's going on? Well, obviously, TNA sees that RPW is something to contend with, and they're a hot force in Middle Georgia.
Our good friend Thunderbolt Patterson would probably say, got to call somebody.
Call somebody. Tell them Thunderbolt now an extra part of Rampage Pro Wrestling. Look forward to his vignettes coming up in the near future on talking about old school versus new school and how they blend together.
Very much so. He's been spending some time observing, and he sees a lot of the old in what he sees with our young athletes here, and it's brought up memories that he said he wants to share with our fans, and you're going to be the one that gets to sit down with him, I understand.
Freddie Miller used to call him the man who comes on strong.
Well, and he certainly did, and boy, by golly, he made a wonderful impression at our 3rd anniversary show. Just a tremendous speech from the ring to start off that particular program.
He's been in the ring with many, many legends, and I'm sure that we'll get some great stories from him.
Very much so. Look forward to that.
And right now, both men in a bad way, but it's Jeremy Vane in control. This match has had a lot of wear and tear on Kyle Matthews thus far. Kyle now down on both knees and now grabbed him by the ears and put him backwards with the knee planted firmly in his back. Pretty boy Doug Sommers right there at ringside. And you're going to have to watch him as Matthews draped over that bottom rope with a choke. Boot to the back
and
by
referee
Jeremy Vane.
with Jeremy Vane. Doug Sommers, though, not taking advantage right there. Referee watching him out of the corner of his eye. Probably best he didn't do that. Could cause a disqualification.
Slaps to the face. Humiliation there.
And you know, Jeremy Vane never minded disqualifications, but that's when he was a champion and to hang on to his title. Now, a disqualification's a loss column in the loss column, and that's a disadvantage as he tries to get back into championship positioning.
I think that psychological warfare backfired on him that time as he came back from those.
Oh, what a drop kick.
Standing drop kick. Enough is enough, said Kyle Matthews. Backs him up now, arm of reverse now by Jeremy Vane. Goes for a backdrop and good stand up on the back.
Double stomp right there, has him down. That could be it. No. Of course, Kyle Matthews already has been identified by Dr. Johnny Gayton as one of the 2 captains as we go to Oktoberfest, the Cage War Games. It's going to be the Kyle Matthews team against the Jimmy Rave team in that submit or surrender match at Oktoberfest.
And a rage in the cage it will be. join us for that Oktoberfest. Certainly something to look forward to.
First time a War Games has ever come to Rampage Pro Wrestling. The creation of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, years ago, comes to Rampage Pro Wrestling.
If you will.
If you will, an NWA tradition comes home. Oh, super kick right there. This could be it.
That's Slurpee.
Doug Sommers, though, gets that foot outside the ring. Motions to the referee. Referee sees it. Calls for the break on the pin. Good positioning by Sommers.
And Sommers certainly is something to be reckoned with at ringside, a distraction. He was even distracting Frankie Valentine earlier when he was at ringside.
Fans are chanting for Dustin Robinson to not be any more patient with Doug Sommers and get him from ringside. So far, Dustin Robinson not doing what he frequently does to Jimmy Rave.
Arm whip reverse and caught him with a bolo forearm. Almost took his head off. Full on twist. Wait a minute.
It's an Ocolok.
He's
got it.
Any minute, he's tapping. Didn't take long.
He's got it. Doug Sommers in the ring. Looks like he's going to break it the hard way, and he does. Kyle Matthews down. Kyle Matthews down.
Fist.
And now Doug Sommers planting boot after boot to the prone Kyle Matthews. The pretty boy is in the ring, but here's Frankie Valentine.
Here goes Frankie Valentine, and he's clobbering his own dad here. Pounding away on Doug Sommers, cut off by Jeremy Vane.
Vane cuts him off, and now it's Valentine suffering. Kyle Matthews, though, is now in the ring and alone, but out of the ring. Looks like Vane. Wait. You knew this had to happen. Here comes Rave. He sees an opportunity, and the entire approved team is out. All 5 of them. You know this will be the team at War Games, and they're trying to take out Kyle Matthews before War Games even happens.
This is so sad right here, Kyle Matthews now.
But there's J-Rod. J-Rod is out. Corey Hollis catches a Superman knee.
In stereo.
There's a plot to the outside, down. Here comes Adrian Hawkins into the ring. Ducks run right there, comes off double back elbow to both Mike Posey and Chip Day, who get the heck out of Dodge. Here comes Patrick Bentley. Cut off by Sal Rinauro is Bentley, and Rinauro, who has great history with Patrick Bentley all over the state of Georgia now, has cut him off, and they're going toe-to-toe right now. Matthews and Bentley with Rave and Rinauro. Rave goes off. Slurpee kick.
Great comeback there by the skilled Kyle Matthews. Sal Rinauro going in. And caught by Matthews.
And up he goes, and wait a minute, we saw this last time. The Destroyer.
And the Destroyer applied very well by this young man. And here comes Marshall Dillon, the GM, Dr. Johnny Gayton. And after what we just saw, I'm sure he has a lot to say.
You know, it really does seem like y'all don't want to wait on War Games. Well, I have an announcement to make that everyone should listen to. Earlier this week, Bull Buchanan called and said that due to some personal issues, he was going to have to relinquish the heavyweight title. I tried to work everything out. It was impossible, so he has relinquished the title. And since we have so much good talent here at RPW, and it seems like everybody wants to be involved all the time, I think the next match, no, we're not going to give the title to any individual. We have too many good competitors here. You're going to have to earn the RPW heavyweight title. And it's going to be earned in a gauntlet match. So right here for the next TV taping, we will have a gauntlet match for the NWA RPW heavyweight title.
Whoa.
October 2nd, Sunday afternoon.
We're not giving it to
match.
anybody. It's something that has to be earned. And if you're man enough to earn it, I'll put it on you myself.
Wow, strong words from Doc Gayton. Says if Jimmy Ray wins that title, he'll put it on him himself. But he has to earn it. Gauntlet match, fans. Thanks for joining us this week for Rampage Pro Wrestling. Sunday, October 2nd, the Gauntlet's going to run, and we're going to have an NWA RPW heavyweight.
Hey, let's not forget Kyle Matthews victorious in the main event.
Yeah, with a Hidaka lock. It is all blank, so to speak. And right now the winner is Kyle Matthews. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you live Sunday, October 2nd for the gauntlet for the NWA RPW heavyweight title. And next week for more.